Good evening, meteorologist Dooley Godot here with another weather update for you. And we're going to jump right into the business and look at those forecast models for you. We're going to start off with our GFS model, and we're going to talk about some potential changes in the long range forecast, some important changes because let's face it, America, we are about due for a pattern change. We have been in the same rut for the last few weeks now, and I don't think the East Coast can bear the brunt of another big snowstorm or any of these crazy, hard to predict winter storms that bring a mixed bag of precipitation and chaos and craziness. But kudos to the folks at the National Weather Service and our other colleagues, our local television meteorologists and other folks who work in meteorologists who work tirelessly to make sure that the nation has accurate and reliable weather forecasts for your business plans and travel plans and everything like that, and for the government to do their thing, all the farmers to do their thing, and the truck drivers and all of that stuff, all that wonderful world of weather that we all participate in. So we're going to take a look at our GFS map right now, and this is currently where we stand. Oops, got a little crazy there. Let's go back. All right, there we go. So let's take a look at our GFS, and this is our current conditions. And what we're looking at now, this is our old Alberta Clipper that affected the upper Midwest a day or two ago with some freezing rain and snow along the border with Canada, and that also strong gusty winds. It's still a little breezy out there, so we can still see some of those winds across Minnesota. It's been when I was out today, when I was leaving work, I could feel those winds. They're still gusting around 20 to 30 miles per hour from time to time. So you want to bundle up if you are venturing out tonight. You want to put your heavy coats on because it is cold in the upper Midwest today. Woo! Today we saw temperatures in the single digits above zero here in the Twin Cities. But if you go into North Dakota, they were 10 to 20 below for actual daytime highs. It's really cold. And the National Weather Service has issued wind chill warnings for those areas because they will have wind chills tonight approaching 40 to 50 below. So the actual air temperature is in the negative 20s. So be very careful in those areas if you're in northwest Minnesota and North Dakota. It's a little bit more tame across some of the other Great Lakes states in the upper Midwest. Indiana and Iowa, are still in the 20s tonight and tomorrow. So they won't quite experience the cold temperatures that we often feel in Minnesota and the Dakota. So a little bit more reasonable there. And we got a weather system in the southeast that's bringing some rain across the Dixieland. We have rain in Louisiana and Texas here. Houston, Beaumont, Texas is getting in on some rain. A little bit of thunderstorms. Look like there's some thunderstorm activity in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And we have some snow wrapped around here. A little deformation area here in Arkansas, Missouri. Is a little bit of rain, a little snow, and freezing rain. There's a little bit of freezing rain in there, okay? So let's move on down the road here a little bit. And you see the next Pacific system that's going to roll into the Pacific Northwest with some rain for the valleys and the coastal areas and mountain snow. So let's move on. It got a big ridge of high pressure in the north central area here. You can see that that high pressure as that air goes counterclockwise. So this is going to be what we call warm air advection coming up from the south. So it's going to warm up quite nicely in the high plains of North and South Dakota and Wyoming and western Montana. Could see some 40s when this air starts to move in from the south. So that will be a nice, they can thaw out a little bit because they really take the brunt of these cold shots that come down out of the Arctic. So let's move on ahead and take a look at what's next. We got some energy down here in the Brownsville, Texas area. This is South Texas and Mexico, and in the Gulf of Mexico, this is going to form out in the Gulf, and it's going to make its way across the Gulf of Mexico. Going to bring some showers and thunderstorms to Florida, and around along the immediate Gulf Coast of Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. Might see some showers and thunderstorms right along the coast. Maybe there's a little bit of precipitation in northern Alabama and Georgia. Tennessee and Kentucky could see some. Here's North Carolina could also get in some of that. South Carolina. And I looked to see what I believe might be a little freezing rain. They've been really plagued with freezing rain in the Carolinas this winter. It's one of those areas where it's kind of an in-between zone. Between the zones, they get a lot of snow in those rain zones. So since those boundaries between that rain and snow is kind of shallow, instead of a steep, oh yeah, it's raining and then switches to snow, it's kind of a gradual. So there's that stretch of area that's freezing rain, sleet, a mixed precipitation. Has a lot to do with the dynamics of these frontal systems and these low pressure centers. And then another little area of snow here and some rain. And that's going to move on out. Keep it moving here. And we're going to get closer. Now we are looking at the 28th. We're going to get close to those changes that I was inferring that was going to take place. And I hope this holds. It's kind of a mixed bag, because the pattern that we were in with the ridge in the west and the trough in the east is colder, yes, for us in the upper Midwest. But that ridge, that Pacific ridge, kind of protects us from big snowstorms, because I see the potential for a pattern flip somewhat to a degree, but I can only see out to maybe the 4th or 5th here. So we are going to move on out to, see, you can see at this point now, late January, not much going on, pretty quiet across the nation. Couple big ridges of high pressure taking over, so not a whole lot going on. So that is kind of good to see. Bummer. I hoped that I could control the map by pushing the button on the keyboard here, but I guess not. So let's go ahead here. Here we are looking at the 29th. Again, not much going on across the nation. Pretty quiet, which is good to see. We like to see that. A little energy again. Florida, going to see some thunderstorms, some from a frontal boundary there. That's going to get going. Maybe something that's going to develop out over the Atlantic. Now, let's take a look at that pattern change that I was referring to. Let's progress ahead. We see that strong. Now, you see, here's that pattern change. You see this here. Oh, God, I keep losing it because, okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Back. I keep losing my position here. Okay. Alright, we're going to keep moving here. Alright, so let's keep going. Alright, there we go. We're getting there. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, forward here. Okay. Now. Okay, so now you see this big ridge, this here, all of this. See all of this southerly flow? This is a southwesterly flow around this big ridge of high pressure. It's a double barrel high too. See, there's another area of high pressure here, another center of high pressure down over the Piedmont states. And with this pattern, you see a little bit troughing here. See, it's trying to trough here. Area of low pressure over the high plains right here. That air coming from the south wrapping around that low, indicating that change in the pattern. So now we're developing a ridge in the east, but we're flattening that ridge on the west coast, and in the mountains we're flattening that ridge, but not entirely, but it's flattening enough that it is going to lead to the potential for a significant storm in the Midwest. Now we are talking about the potential for a storm in the Midwest and the Great Lakes. I don't mean the southern plains, the northern plains, Minnesota, Wisconsin, right? Iowa, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, could have the potential to see a major storm for once. It's been a fairly quiet winter for the upper Midwest, and you see this coming together. You see this warm air advection is going to bring rain to parts of the area. See, Iowa is going to get, see this here, this heavy rain. This is not wintry precipitation, and even comes into Minnesota. We are talking about on February 1st, ladies and gentlemen, that rain could come to Minnesota. Southern Minnesota could see rain out ahead of that next low pressure center. We can get rain in Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana could see some rain, and there's the potential for thunder in there too. We could see warm enough temperatures for thunder in the upper Midwest on February 1st. Let's move our map on. Now it gets interesting. So now we have, this is what's called a Colorado low. And usually for us, a Colorado low is typically occurs from systems that come down the Pacific coast, and they slide all the way into Southern California, and the trough is on the west coast, and it rounds the trough and it heads northeast, much like the trough on the east coast, and the storms around the base of the trough are coming off the ridge from the west and head up the east coast like nor'easters. It's kind of like a nor'easter for the Midwest. It's the same identical pattern that nor'easters, only it's over the central plains and the northern plains. But you can see a lot of precipitation. Now you see that snow across Minnesota and Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, and Michigan, upper Michigan, the upper peninsula of Michigan. Let's say that correctly. The upper UP is what I was trying to say. The UP. It's not upper UP. It's UP. The UP of Michigan. Come on, Dooley. Get it right. All right. So we got that precipitation moving in. Now this is a potentially could be a good storm for us. It's just now taking shape. So as we see that moving on out. But look at all of this rain. It's riding up all the way into southern Canada. This is, the GFS sometimes just, I mean, if this pans out, this would be interesting because rain like this moving in February, I mean, it's possible. This is the type of area that, that can see Indiana, Illinois, especially along Lake Michigan, Ohio. Their winters are not like Minnesota. Minnesota, we have the prairies from Canada that keeps us funneled with super cold air, and weather systems that come through here usually mean snow. We are pretty consistent with our snow through the entire winter in Minnesota. But when you get to the western side, the eastern portions of the Great Lakes, you get to Ohio and Indiana, and the effects of those lakes, the snow, it can be slushy. They have my wife used to live in Indiana, and when she lived there, it's not Here, when it snows, you can see the same snow in April that fell in November. All right, it doesn't melt typically. It just piles on to it. Every subsequent storm just piles on top of it. So it's a hot mess. And but in Indiana, in Michigan, in Ohio, they frequently freeze thaw. They melt snow. Sometimes it rains. They have a mixed bag of precipitation in their winter. So it's not a surprise to see temperatures warm enough for heavy rain, even the potential for thunderstorms, because that Gulf moisture. This is on the west side of the Appalachians, so that moisture is funneled and is not being impeded by the Appalachian Mountains. So, and it's not a surprise that it's a lot of rain instead of snow. Whereas Minnesota, we saw rain enter only in southern Minnesota, southeast Minnesota, south of Rochester, south of Mankato, down to the I-90 corridor, could see those rain and the possibility of a thunderstorm. I mean, it's possible. Not likely, but possible. Because the GFS likes to make wild accusations like that. But we'll see if this verifies. Because I'm willing to bet $10 that tomorrow's run, the next run of the GFS, it'll be like this never was forecasted. This is why this is the guideline. Just a guideline to say, okay, this is the possibility of what could happen. Yeah. I mean, this is a lot of snow here over the South Dakota, Nebraska here, western central Minnesota. This is the Twin Cities here. So we see all of this here. And let's take it on out. Alright, so now, look at this. Look at this. Look. Wow, you see that? This is February the 2nd. Look at this. This is heavy snow. This is the Twin Cities here. Wisconsin. Here's Madison. There could be heavy snow over in Madison, Wisconsin. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Dells. La Crosse, Wisconsin. Minneapolis, St. Paul. Rochester. Bloomington. A lot of southern Minnesota. This is the southern half, the southern 2/3 of Minnesota could get a pretty significant snowstorm. And this storm is going to continue and push into Michigan. So now the upper peninsula of Michigan, Detroit, heavy snow, but then rain to the south. Look at these thunderstorms in the Gulf, in Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, all the way up to Tennessee. This is Kentucky right here. We can see thunderstorms. This is the Appalachian. This is Appalachia here, the Appalachian mountain range here. So we see the potential for thunderstorms. When you see these yellows and reds, this is convective. These are possibly thunderstorms or very heavy rain at the least. So we're gonna keep on. There's that big storm is going to head on off the East Coast. And see, I want to show you this here. Now, let's go back. Now, you want to see something. I want to show you something here. This is what's interesting, all right? So this is what's happening. So now, that big trough that was over the east is now in the Central Plains. See that trough? See it? Right here. See the air coming down off the mountains. This is coming off the mountains, right? Blowing across Texas. This is Texas. See how it turns northeast here? This is where the trough is going to be. Instead of over here, it's now in the Central Plains. And what that does, weather systems will come down off of the mountains here to Colorado, right? And then they will turn east-northeast and race off toward the northeast. That's why we call them Colorado lows. And for Minnesota, Colorado low usually means a snowstorm. They're usually good for at least 8 inches of snow for like the Twin Cities. I hate to see these things because they suck. This is the pattern we were stuck in 2010, and we had 98 inches of snow that year, and it was a nightmare. There was snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm. We had 2 or 3 at least 12-foot or higher storms. One storm in December 10th in 2009. No, 2010, because 2011 started the next year, and an El Nino came that year. In 2010, December 11th, 2010, 21 inches of snow in the Twin Cities from a Colorado low. So that's the problems that they bring. They bring heavy, heavy, heavy snow to the Twin Cities. So that's what the GFS. But the other thing I want to show you is, you see how this is arched backwards here? See this arch in this frontal boundary? This is a front. This is a cold front. But it's stalled. It's going to be stalled here because of this huge area of high pressure out over the Atlantic. This is the Bermuda High. This is the Bermuda High. And this high pressure is responsible for steering hurricanes out in the Atlantic in hurricane season. In hurricane season is usually further out. This is what causes and there's usually a front over the East Coast, right? In conjunction with the air pattern around the Bermuda High is what makes tropical systems turn north and northeast. This is what makes them take that track. If this was July and we saw this pattern, right, we would be looking for a tropical storm or hurricane on the East Coast. We would be looking from Florida all the way up to Georgia, Carolinas, all the way up to Virginia, all the way up. We'd be looking for a tropical storm or hurricane with that kind of setup. So I just thought that was something right there, something interesting. Let's take a look at the Euro, and this is where the Euro has us right now. That little piece of energy, that front, that kind of stalled front that's over the East Coast, that's kind of slowly inching its way south and southeast. But I don't think it's going to get much further than the Piedmont. It's not going to get further than Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe central Georgia, northwest Florida possibly. But I don't think it's going to move further south than that. It's either going to wash out here somewhere or stall and move back as a warm front in conjunction with the next area of low pressure that comes in from the west. So let's go through on. So after this, see how it diffuses? See how it doesn't move much through the state of Florida? It just kind of hangs out. It just hangs out right in here and then washes out. That's kind of what I used to live in Florida, and I can't tell you how many times it was a cold front in Florida. That cold front would get halfway through the state. That front would get through about Orlando, and then it will wash out or retrograde back as a warm front back through the northern Florida into the rest of the South. And so, as you can see, it's going to be quiet according to the European model. You know, we do have a little Alberta clipper here that's going to come through on the 23rd, but, you know, just a little bit of light snow. We're used to that this time of the year. January is notorious for the Alberta clippers. It's pretty much all the snow we see through January is an inch here and there from an Alberta clipper. So that's what the Euro, not much to speak of there because it's not a long range model like the GFS try to be. The GFS is overachieving right now. I think that the GFS is on that bogosity. we'll see. We'll see if that happens because, um, yeah, I hope it's wrong about that on the 3rd and the 4th. I really do. That first week of February, I hope the GFS is totally wrong because I don't want to deal with that. So let's take a look at our next map. This is our this map is our NAM, our 3 kilometer NAM, get serious, our NAM. This is a North American model. This is our 3 kilometer, and you can see interesting things with this model. This is the atmosphere at about 6,000-7,000 feet. Yeah, I think 3 kilometers, yep. And meters, sorry, meters, not feet, meters, 6,000-7,000 meters. I mean 6 or 7. Yeah. Let me shut up. Anyway, because I'm confused. I'm tired. Need to go to bed. So, but anyway, we have this here. This piece. This is like a jet streak energy here. So you can see our cold air in the upper Midwest here, in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That cold air that's that really cold air. That's the super frigid connect. That's that Arctic air here. This is more warmer air. It's a little bit more snow producing air or precipitation. It's a little bit warmer. So let's progress this one here. So with this one, what we want to see, we see another shot of cold air coming down out of Canada. It's not going to be no joke. It's no joke. This is taking us into the 22nd. So you can see that cold air, another shot. And you see this twirl right here? This is a weather system. This could mean rain for Southern California. See, here's that pattern change I'm talking about. You see what I'm talking about? It's beginning to take shape even on the 22nd because this is a cutoff low. It's cut off from the main area of circulation because the main circulation is going this way. As you see, it's coming that northwest, but this one is way down here in the southwest, in California, in Nevada. And this is going to move across here. If this model doesn't show any further, but I can tell you that this is going to move out over into Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, right? If it doesn't, with this kind of a pattern, it's going to stay south, right? It's not going to come north unless we had a prevailing, unless this front wasn't right here. See, this is that frontal boundary that's going to sit across the southeast for the next week. It's going to hang out there and get to about North Florida, maybe Orlando. As far south as Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa. It's not going to go any further south than that. But it's going to take a sweet time getting there. They're going to deal with this frontal boundary till the end of the month. And it's going to have impulses of energy called short waves that ride along this frontal boundary. And so it's going to create the focus for thunderstorms and showers and other precipitation types. But this guy here, interesting. This open wave, you see, it's not completely closed off. See, and it's not a complete circulation around that, but you see that curl. This is called an open wave or a short wave. It's called a short wave. But this energy is going to probably make its way across into the Gulf Coast, into the Gulf states, maybe Florida. But that's not going to really, thank God, I don't think it's going to really affect us here. The one that's going to affect us here is going to come down, it's going to come this way. It's going to come inland into Colorado and turn the corner in Colorado and then hit northeast. So That's where that stands. So here we're looking at our GEFS ensemble forecast. And you can see we're going to run through this really quickly now. And we're going to see the upper air pattern here. As you can see, you see how everything on this one, how it rotates clockwise. See how it goes like this? That's a big ridge of high pressure. That's usually a warm ridge of high pressure coming in. You see it moves in. You see that ridge. See that nice ridge out west. See? And that trough in the east. That's what we've been seeing. That's the pattern that we've been in since late December. And this is taking us this is January 27th. This is the 27th. So on the 27th, we are still in that pattern. But as we move ahead, now, see, look what happens. See what happens? Look. Look how, see? You see the ridge in the east now. You see, instead of it taking a northwesterly flow, now it becomes southwesterly. For a brief period, we have a zonal flow, east to west, a fast-moving zonal flow. When we get a zonal flow, that just means that nothing's happening. Usually you don't see any big storms in the zonal pattern. But as we move ahead, we move out 384 hours. But look what happens when we get to the end. See that? See that nice zonal pattern? That's not going to make... See, this is why I think the GFS is on that crap again. Because it's showing that snowstorm here. But this is February 4th. But if you look at the GFS, it shows that big snowstorm in the in the Great Lakes, in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. There's no snowstorm in that. No, none. This is a beautiful weather pattern. It was going to be milder. You know, you don't have quite the northerly wind that's coming from the west. Everything's west to east. A fast moving pattern. That's what you want to see. It's going to be warmer, a little warmer in the east. It won't be February 4th. If this forecast happens, then this is going to be good. This is good. This is what I want to see. That's beautiful. Yes. All right, these are our temperatures right now. This is the nightmare that we're living in right now. You see, today we were 4 degrees above zero in the Twin Cities. And then, but if you see that negative 11 in North Dakota, see those negatives right there? A little bit warmer in South Dakota, 12 above. It was the exact opposite. 12 above here, negative 11. See, that's how that cutoff. In the 20s here, we got single digits above zero, almost 10 degrees across Iowa, 10 degrees in Wisconsin. You got, I can't really see that. I think that's an 11. It might be a 17. Green Bay saw a high temperature today of 17. Milwaukee was 16. 21 in Chicago. This is the Quad Cities here. This is Sterling Rock Falls here at 15. Indianapolis saw a balmy 40 degrees today because that Alberta Clipper really didn't affect them too much. Its effects didn't reach that far. So you have Indiana, Ohio, Cleveland was 41 degrees. Dayton, Ohio was 46 today. You see that really, it's not too bad across a lot of the nation. You see the 60s in the Deep South. It was 77 today in New Orleans, you know. And we're seeing almost 80 in South Florida. I mean, that's where I want to be, is in South. Look at Texas. You have the mid 70s in Dallas and Houston. You know, 77 in Houston, 75 in Dallas. You know, really nice, very, very nice. Which is usually what happens ahead of a frontal boundary. So that frontal boundary is right now in the it's currently sitting over. You see where it drops down from the 60s, goes into the 40s. Not too bad. Not too bad of a temperature change there. It's not too severe. Right? So let's move on to and take a look at what our temperatures are going to look like for tomorrow, Thursday. -2 in Minneapolis. It's even worse, man. It just keeps getting worse. Warms up a little bit in North Dakota, though. It is just -9 in Fargo. All right? -9. Go figure. Okay? So a little bit better. A few degrees better in North Dakota. And this is our temperature for Friday. Our Friday temperatures, we recover a little bit, a few degrees in the upper Midwest here. It finally gets to 10 and 11 above in Fargo. Duluth is 10. Reaches 8 in Minneapolis. Rochester hits 9 degrees. 15 degrees in Green Bay. 16 degrees in Milwaukee. 19 in Chicago. 19 degrees in Detroit. We see 22 in Indianapolis, Lincoln, Illinois hits 20 degrees. Peoria hits 14. It's going to be 11 in Des Moines. So you can see those frigid temperatures continue, but it could be worse. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it could be worse. I mean, I've lived in Minnesota now for 19 years, and I've seen Januaries where we are below zero, day and night, for weeks at a time. Weeks. This winter, it's up and down. It's been a roller coaster. We recover, get 30, and then the next day, Alberta Clipper comes through, boom, cold again. But it lasts only a few days, so hey, you take what you can get. All right, so let's look at Saturday. All right. Ooh, what time is it? 9:41. Well, this is a long video. All right, so we're going to look at this guy here. All right, so 14. We finally reached the double digits. Yee! Great. That's great. So that's for Saturday. Our high temperature in Minneapolis is going to be 14, 18 in Rochester. Reach the low 20s in Chicago and Milwaukee, right? And then Des Moines is almost 30. So, hey, Iowa is the place you want to be. It cools down in Indiana, though. You see, Ohio and Indianapolis were 40, in the 40s, but now they're in the 20s because that frontal boundary has finally passed through them. So that's what they're going to get. So that is the map, the models right now. Let's take a look at our big fancy map that will tell us about what's going on with any watches and warnings. So here we have that that wind chill advisory that the National Weather Service is talking about. They think that we're going to be they don't just think, they know that we're, because we already are in wind chill advisory territory where we're going to be. Whoa, what happened? Map just glitched. So we're going to be this is anywhere from 15 to 25 below zero in the wind chill. This here will approach wind chill warning, will approach 40 to 50 below zero. It's anything over 35 below zero with the wind chill factor. And then we have some mixed precipitation down in Kentucky, Tennessee. So it's a mixed bag of watches and warnings here. You see those showers going on across the Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana, Texas. You see showers and thunderstorms. Let's put our map into motion here so we can see what's happening. There we go. So that's the only real big precipitation in the nation right now is in the southeast. And most of it's falling in the form of rain. So not much snow today to speak of. So that is a look at our big map. And you can see the makings of the next Pacific system coming in the Pacific Northwest. So let's go to our main screen here. All right, this was kind of a long walk through the wonderful world of weather. My name is Dooley Godot. I also go by Mr. G. I think I may call myself that, Mr. G. Weather with Mr. G. Yeah, I like that. The weather with Mr. G. Maybe we're going to do that. I'll talk to my daughter about it. She helps me shape my social media presence. So anyway, this is my YouTube channel. I'm still nervous, so I sound nervous till I get comfortable. See, when I got comfortable, then I can crack jokes and this. I don't want to be here and sound like, oh, I'm a weather guy, I'm a TV guy. I don't want to sound like a TV guy. I just want to talk to you about the weather. And just talk normal, not sound like, oh, I have to be formal, you know. I don't have to go sound like a white guy, you know what I mean? And so, but we just want to be casual about it. Talk about the weather, what's going on, what's big and what's new, what's gonna, get you prepared for any potential weather disasters. I know a lot of guys online, a lot of other YouTubers, everybody's, I guess they're trying to get views. I guess that's why they all have 100,000 subscribers or more. If you go around and say, oh, big winter storm, oh, big snowstorm, but nothing's going to really happen. It's just, it's going to be a little messy, sloppy snow here and there across the southeast, There's no big nor'easters coming. It's nothing like that. It's going to be a quiet period of weak weather systems. Some weak weather systems down on the southeast and all that. Maybe an Alberta clipper here in the upper Midwest. Till that stupid GFS says, oh, we're going to have a pattern change. We're due for a pattern change. So if it keeps saying that, then I'll say, okay. And then I'll say, okay, maybe the GEFS was wrong. But the GEFS is not one map, though. It's 31. There are 31 members of the GEFS ensemble because it's a group of models put together and they're averaged out. So I would put more credence in that, but then you have to ask, well, how good are the models that the GEFS go by? But it puts them all together and creates a mean, this can happen, that can happen. But I like what I believe in what the GEFS was saying. I think that's more likely to happen because I kind of see it now in the pattern that there's not too many systems diving north or diving south. They're not really rounding the base. They're heading out to sea. Whatever comes across the Gulf Coast heads out to sea. It's not really racing up the East Coast anymore. I'm not really seeing that in the pattern. So I can see a flattening of the pattern. It could lead to a pattern change. Typically it does. But a week or so of a zonal pattern, fast east to west, not much in the way of big weather systems. Hey, I'll take it. I think we can all take it. Because it won't be too cold in the north, right? And it will be seasonal in the south. Let's go with that. So anyway, my name is Dooley Godot, also Mr. G. We're going to wrap this up. My wife is out there probably waiting on me. She's like, hey, you've been back there all evening. So hey, we don't want to be back. We don't want to be back here all evening. We want to spend some time with our wives, right? So anyway, please, I'm new to this YouTube thing. I'm just trying to get it off the ground. I want to do what I love, and I want to do it for myself. I don't really want to say, oh yeah, I want to work for this TV station or that government entity, where I want to be my own weatherman and do my own thing. So I think it would be it's more fun this way, and I can give the people what they want. Do my part to keep everybody safe, right? And help protect lives and property. Subscribe to the channel. Leave comments in the comment section. Do you like my style? What do you think I could do to make my channel more appealing? To make my forecast and my analysis. It's not really a forecast per se. It's more of an analysis of the weather data that's out there and the models. It's an analysis. What do you think? Do you like my analysis? Do you like my style? I know I start the videos nervous because it's like I battle with myself is, am I going to be casual? Do I want to sound formal? And then I'm sitting around thinking of what I want to say, and then the words don't come out, I stutter, and I'm trying to get away from that. I just want to be casual and just talk to you. Like my wife told me yesterday, talk to the camera like you're just talking to me. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. All right. So thank you. Have a good evening. I'll probably post this in the morning, so it probably won't be. Well, maybe we'll see what happens. All right. I might clean it up. And as you see, I got my name up here now. I just learned how to do that on OBS. See, I'm new to this editing. I don't know how to edit, so my daughter is going to help me learn all that kind of stuff. Today, I got a beautiful. Today, I bought my first YouTube channel investment, a tripod that my camera's sitting on right now. I have that. So I got a nice, beautiful tripod. Yay! $30, well spent. It's great. You know, my camera's at the right height now. It's not towering above me, and I'm looking up at it like this because I have really large monitors, so it's not sitting on top of the monitors. How about and you know, I want to get me a green screen so I can actually stand up and point at the map, and you can actually see my maps on behind me. You know, just a whole green screen. You know, buy some lights and a new camera, a really fancy camera, a real camera, microphone. You know, like them fancy YouTube mics that I be seeing people doing. So, you know, hey, it's a work in progress. So I ask you to bear with me. It's going to be sloppy, but one day we're going to be clean. It's going to be sharp, you know, but we'll get there. So thank you for watching. Have a good night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow probably.